All right, everyone, welcome into the show. Welcome here. I've got a very special guest with me today. As you can see on camera, Dan Marion. We're going to be talking about his voiceover journey to where he started, to where he's now, to the gear that he uses, why he selected the gear, and all that great kind of stuff. Dan, I just want to say thank you so much for being with me here on the show today, man.
Oh, thank you very much for having me and for doing this project. I appreciate it.
Well, the pleasure is definitely mine. Look, Dan, tell us, how long ago did this journey start for you, where you got into voiceover?
Yeah, about October of last year.
Okay.
My mom had seen a program on Good Morning America where this voiceover artist was doing audiobook narration.
Uh,
And she was making buku money. And she said, "You've got a good voice. Go ahead and do it." And I took the plunge. And my biggest thing was I thought you could just buy a microphone, plug it in, and next thing you know, I'm living the life in Bermuda and on a yacht.
yeah.
And yeah.
All of us kind of felt that way when we got into this. I'll never forget when I first came in. This was, oh my gosh, 08, 09, somewhere in there. Voices.com. I thought I was just going to get on voices.com. I was going to blow up
Mm-hmm.
because I was on a platform. We all know this does not work
No, it
this
does not.
way. But I mean, had you ever thought about voiceover before? Your mom kind of brought that up to you?
I had always been told that I had a good voice. It's deep,
Mhm.
has been for a long time. And I used to, fool around with different things and, used to do fake movie trailers. I'm a huge movie fan.
Okay.
So people
The
like Orson
world.
Welles and
Yeah.
things like that, I'd sit there and try to imitate them, when I was younger.
Mhm.
So that's helped out a lot actually. Being a
Yeah.
movie fan, loving to read. So
Well, all of us have those beginnings for why we do what it is that we do. Let's
mhm.
kind of transition here into like the gear that you use here. I'm loving the microphone that you have right there. Tell us about that mic. Why did you choose that microphone?
I chose this one because every other one I tried failed.
And which
It's
one is this one?
no, this one's a Personas PD70. And this was actually recommended by my rep at Sweetwater.
Okay.
I was having an issue with condenser microphones,
How many had
which
you gone
I,
through?
hmm,
How many had you gone through? How many different mics had you gone through before you got to this puppy?
3.
Wow.
Yeah, if I had actually listened to him the first time he suggested this, um, I'd have been able to take more classes. So I didn't, and he was nice enough though to listen to a demo of mine,
Mhm.
and listening to that, he suggested this mic. And one of the
Wow.
biggest things is my range is very low.
Mhm.
It starts off low. Um, so this kind of enhances that. It doesn't, enhance the low. It controls my mid and brightens up my top end a little bit. So I don't have as much EQ as I did with a condenser mic, and the
Okay.
proximity effect isn't as great with this dynamic mic as it is with a condenser.
Yeah. Obviously both of us are using, well, I can say obviously, people may
Hmm.
not know, both of us are using dynamic microphones right now. And it's one of those things where I even know like this cloud lifter, I know you've got a cloud lifter on yours
Yes.
as well, so that you don't have to push that gain that much on these microphones at this point now. Instead of having it all the way up on tilt or 100,
Yeah.
you can bring that down and still have a very good sound in your voice with that power that you need. Kind of like the same as a condenser mic would be, but you don't have all
And
those.
that was one of the biggest things I had was I was picking up a lot of background noise,
Mhm.
which is another reason I got the dynamic mic. But I was hovering around 70, 80% on the gain when I
Yeah.
first got it. And
Mhm.
then I got the Fed head, and all of a sudden now I can record at 6 to 12 dB,
Right.
and I'm only pushing about 20%. So
Wow.
that's a huge,
Huge
and
difference.
my noise floor has dropped off completely. So yeah.
Wow. Wow. And that is so important, right? The noise floor, because it's like if you've got a high noise floor, there's a lot of noise in your recordings. That's a lot of work you got to do in post
Yes,
to
it
try and
is.
clean that up. And we all know if you got too much noise, you're not going to clean it up. It's kind of like junk in, junk out,
No.
you know?
And that's why for me this mic was so important because I hover so far down in the low end.
Hmm.
A lot of times it mixes with that noise coming in from the noise floor.
Right.
So now I've got double work trying to clean it up. And I'm not about working harder, about working smarter.
Absolutely.
So, you know,
Yeah, knock out as much work as we can on those things. Tell us about your, I mean, love all the stuff you just said about the mic, by the way. Tell us about your audio interface. How did you go about selecting that? Was it kind of the same process? Had you gone through a couple before? What did
no.
that look like?
When I first started out and started doing research, it was between the Focusrite Solo
Mhm.
and a Steinberg. Well, Steinberg went on sale.
Okay.
So when the Steinberg went on sale, it was about $100 cheaper, and I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And it produces a good low noise floor on its own. When the mic isn't on, and I use Source Connect, let's say,
Mhm.
um, the background noise is below 80 decibels,
Wow. Okay.
so it's really quiet. And
Did
there again, that just helps things out.
I mean, is it very similar to the Focusrite that you were looking at before? Is it the same kind of style?
It is. It's
Or
very simple. It's a solo interface. So simple gain knob,
Mhm.
XLR cable connection. You can do direct monitoring, um, headphone connection, but it also does have one extra plug in there if you do have something else you want to do, like an instrument or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know the stuff that we've talked about during this real short interview here is going to be powerful and helpful to so many different VOs that are just starting out along the same lines. They've been in like 6 months to a year, like you've been, or maybe even less. Maybe they're just starting today, but at
Mhm.
least now they're going to have something to kind of look at to say, okay, um, this may be a good place for me to start. So, but I always like to end my interviews with this. It's like, if you could ask me one thing about voiceover, what would that be? What would you want to know?
My biggest thing is marketing.
Okay.
I think with everyone that is getting started, you're so focused on your demo, your voice, your EQ, compression, and everything else on that end,
Mhm.
the technical end. Once you get that and you start going out to the world, most people don't have a plan for that. So you just start plastering things willy nilly all over the place and casting such a wide net,
Yeah.
hoping something bites.
Well, I
And
mean,
that's making me work a lot harder than I think I need to.
well, one of the things I work a lot with voiceover artists on, obviously, is marketing. But one of the biggest things is picking your niche. Like, what do you want to be known for? What is that thing? Not I can do voiceover. It's like that's not the thing. It's like who do you
Yes.
want to attract, and what is it that you actually want to do? What are you great at? What are you good at? Then you get on something like an Instagram, right? And you just start documenting your journey. You start documenting your day in that niche. It's like, okay, if we're talking about audiobooks, I'm an audiobook VO, right? I'm going to be making little short clips, little short reels, little short videos that I'm going to be plastering on Instagram, maybe some other places too, but in particular Instagram. I'm going to be tagging those different companies that I want to do work with. I'm going to be using hashtags that are relevant to that company to that's the beginning of getting your name out there. Because when you don't have a marketing plan per se, or you don't have a resume or anything like that, everything that you do on social media becomes that. Everything becomes that, and people can track back right to you. So get going on that one, right?
I appreciate that. And I think that's part of it too, is finding that niche.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my voice doesn't sound like a lot of other people's, and voice envy is a
Yeah,
real thing.
it is
So
a real thing. I
yes,
remember when I used to have it. I do not have voice envy anymore. I just don't,
no,
because it doesn't pay off any benefits to have
no,
it. Because when people hire you, they're hiring because they want you,
yes,
who you sound like. They want you, and they
absolutely.
want that voice. Well, Dan, thanks so much for being here with me today, man. This has been a pleasure for me, and looking forward to seeing more of your success in the future, man.
I appreciate it, and I really love what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.